So I would like to begin by bringing greetings from Tokyo, where I live. I have a church that I go to in Tokyo at the moment. It took me many months to get a church, but finally I'm in a church known as Tokyo Baptist Church, where the gospel is preached. I arrived at that decision to fellowship at that church over many months because I wanted to make sure that I get into the right church. There are many places where people sit and listen to something being said, but you really want to be sure that where you are sitting, they are actually preaching the gospel. So I fellowship with Tokyo Baptist Church, and I bring greetings from there and from people in Tokyo. I also bring greetings from Kakamega. Nilikuwa kule you can clap if you want. I bring greetings from Kakamega. Kakamega is where I was born. I always speak quite clearly. My home is in heaven. That's not my home. I was born there, so I went there day before yesterday. Na nikarudi jana. Nilienda kule Ijumaa, nikarudi jana. Watu wa Kakamega ni wazima, wanawapenda sana. Na unajua kitu kimoja ambacho watu wa Kakamega wanafahamika mno ni kutoa salamu. Watu wa Kakamega wanapenda sana kutoa salamu. Kwa hiyo watu wa Kakamega wakaniambia, ukifikako Nairobi, salamieko hiyo watu ya Nairobi sana. Sijui kama amepokea salamu zao. Asanteni sana. I also want to bring greetings from a Tanzanian close friend of mine. When I was living in Tokyo, I informed him that I'm coming home. He doesn't say ukifikako huko, waambie hiyo watu ya Nairobi ni watu musudi sana, wakipata kitu wanitumieko huku. No. He knows what Swahili is all about. Sasa yule ndugu wa Kitanzania ni ndugu ambaye nimemfahamu muda mrefu sana, na tunapendana sana. Alikuwepo kwenye harusi yangu, na yeye peke yake ndiye aliyetoka Tanzania akaja hapa wakati nilikuwa nasimikwa kuwa mchungaji. Jina lake ni ndugu Yoshua Kiula. Alikuwa amekaa maeneo yale, lakini pia alisimama hapa kwenye madhabahu akaleta salamu za Tanzania. Anaishi maeneo ya Tanga, Tanzania, na akaniambia mahususi upeleke salamu zangu kanisani kabisa, manake anataraji siku moja labda atakuja hapa, labda yeye na wenziwe waje watusalimie. Kwa hiyo ndugu Kiula, lazima salamu zangu nizifikishe jinsi alivyoniomba. Mmezipokea salamu zake. So now we want to speak the word of God, or I want to trust on the Lord to use me today. Bishop, we thank you so much for this theme that has been going on. As I told you, I have been following this closely. Many Sundays, maybe just one or two. For the 7 months I've been in Tokyo, maybe there are just 2 or 3 Sundays that I did not follow it live. But I still went back to the YouTube and I listened to the preachings. So I am right in the spirit as far as the issues that have been going on here are concerned. And the issue of manifesting fruitfulness and multiplication has been very close to my heart over the months that I have listened to sermons that have come from this pulpit, either by our bishop or others who have had a chance to preach. And I would like to begin by indicating that the issue of fruits, of fruitfulness, is an issue that does not just focus or point to the benefits that we get as human beings on earth here in a spiritual way. I will speak a little bit about, or a lot more about, the spiritual nature of fruit, of fruitfulness. But I just want to give you some other indication of what this issue about fruits is seen as very important even from a scientific point of view. Katika kuishi hapa duniani siku hizi, kuna mambo mengi ambayo tunafundishwa na watu ambao wana huo utaalamu wa kutufundisha, na wanatufundisha kwa kutusaidia katika maisha yetu. And in the life that we live in today, because of science, there are a lot of things that have been said and some warnings that have been given to us, especially about diet and how we should choose what to eat. And these warnings, sometimes we may take them lightly, or sometimes we may just think it is scientists or nutritionists who are doing their work, and it doesn't matter much. But out of all this that has been said, it has been proven that there is quality. It helps. It is important to check what you eat. And a lot of warning has gone forth as far as feeding more on what they call processed foods. Vyakula ambavyo vimewekwa kwenye chupa mbalimbali ama vimewekwa kwenye vimefungiwa dukani, na vyakula hivyo vinawekwa pale dukani kwenye rafu or on the shelf, na vinadumu pale muda mrefu sana. Vingine vinaweza vikadumu pale labda hata miaka. Na vyakula hivyo unaonywa ni hatari ukizoea kula vyakula hivyo kwa wingi, kwa sababu vinaweza vikakuletea madhara mwilini mwako. That's very natural. We have been warned. Be very careful about eating a lot of processed things, because these processed things have been proven to be a contributory factor to many diseases that we are struggling with today. Be it obesity, uzito mkubwa, which goes with so many other diseases, some types of cancers, high blood pressure, kisukari, diabetes. We have been warned that if you get so used to eating a lot of processed food, you stand the risk of getting into problems with your health. Other things that we have been warned are things like red meat. Unaambiwa ukizoea nyama nyekundu, nyama hizi za ng'ombe, mbuzi, kondoo, ukila sana kwa wingi, unaweza ukahatarisha maisha yako. Those are warnings that have come forth. Sodas. I don't know how many may know that they say one soda, and if you work in a factory where sodas are made or you like sodas, I don't want to get the soda thing out of business. No, I'm just telling you what I have read and learned over a period of time. One soda, whether Fanta, whether Coca-Cola or whatever, they say, if you drink one soda, the kind of sugar that is in that soda is too heavy that you need 17 glasses of water to neutralize the problems that you would have injected into your body. And I'm not saying that you should stop taking sodas, just moderate. Now, out of all that learning and explanation, they have focused to teach us that you are safer eating more of fruits, and then of course they add vegetables. And as some of you may know, some of fruits are both fruit and vegetables, like a banana, carrot, can be both fruits and vegetables. So that is the teaching that we have been given, that you are better off, you will be healthier, you will be taking care of your body much more in a better way, you will have your stomach lining being in a better position if you eat more of fruits and vegetables. Ukizoea kula sana matunda na mboga, utakuwa unajisaidia kwa njia kubwa sana. And much more, these are things that people find a lot more boring. Watu wanapenda sana kukuchoma, nyama choma, mbuzi what, chips. I don't even want to go into the idea of chips. Ama fries, depending on which part of the world that you want to use your English. Vibanzi in Swahili. Sitaki kukuambia hatari yake sana, kwa sababu najua wengine wenu mnavyoniangalia mnaonekana mnipendi sasa. Mnapenda vibanzi zaidi kuliko mimi. Lakini that is just an introductory element of us to know of the issue of fruits and what it can do to our body for us living on earth today if we get more and more of fruits injected into our bodies more than other things that I've just mentioned. The other thing that I want to mention about fruits is that fruits ni matokeo. Have you ever asked yourself that in many things, the way English has developed or even Swahili, some words, the way they're used, they just have a certain positive nature that you really want to understand why any other word would not have been put there. In this country and in many other countries, there were fights for independence. Here in Kenya, we went through the Mau Mau and so on and so forth. In other countries, like in Tanzania, walikuwa na Majimaji rebellion, the Haitians, where we have taken our police, they got independence from France, I think years or whatever, many years. They were the first country, black-skinned country, African, well, not African because they're from Africa, but black-skinned that got independence. And when you fight and you go through all that, alafu hatimaye mnapata uhuru, lugha inayotumika ni kwamba tunafurahia sasa hivi tutapokea matunda ya uhuru. Sio mboga za uhuru, sio Fanta ya uhuru, sio sukari. There's things sweeter than fruits. They would have used another word. Tutapokea sukari ya uhuru, tutapokea mboga, tutapokea vitu vingi ambavyo wangetumia kama wanataka kutumia mambo haya ya vyakula. Hata magari wangependa, watu wanapenda magari sana, ama afya ya uhuru. Lakini wanasema sasa hivi tumepata uhuru, tutayaona matunda ya uhuru. Watoto wetu hawatateswa tena. Watu wetu hawatalazimishwa kubeba vitambulisho tena. Watu wetu watapata kazi. Mwafrika ataheshimiwa kwa sababu tumepata uhuru. And the same thing, unapompeleka mtoto wako shule, when you take your children to school, mzazi atasema, mtoto wangu nimempeleka shule, amesoma, amepata kazi. That's the essence that many people really look forward to, and it is good for us to take our children to school. In the end, God willing, and I pray that all our children will be somewhere, not just in formal employment where they put on ties and all that, but do something. Now, when your child is now stable and going on with his or her life and doing things and having the grace also to support you as a family, as a parent, you say, ninayaona ya kazi ya. Mbona hata wewe unayependa sijui mudokoi, unayependa nini? Mbona usemi nimeona mudokoi wa kazi yangu? Ama nimeona ingoho, wale wanaotoka Kakamega wanapenda kuku. Mbona usiseme nimeona kuku wa kazi yangu? Hata wanywaji wa busaa, hata wa Mratina wangesema hivyo. Wangesema nimeona busaa ya kazi yangu. Lakini wanasema nimeona matunda ya kazi yangu. I have seen the fruits of my labor. Now, for you to be able to see the fruit, you first of all have to be able to plant a seed. And the issue of planting and harvesting is an area that we have heard of so many times. It has been preached, but there's something a little more that I feel in my spirit that I want to add to that. When you have a seed, it has to go down. Alafu unafukia, you have to bury the seed down there so that it stays down there. And then after some time is when the seed will germinate. Alafu hatimaye utayaona matunda ambayo tunazungumzia hapa, ambayo yatakuwa ni matunda aina mbalimbali na nitawatajia. Lakini ukiona hiyo mbegu, when you look at that seed, when it is still a seed, some of the seeds are even almost microscopic. You cannot see them easily. Huwezi ukaona kwa urahisi kwa kutumia haya macho yetu. Lazima utumie vifaa fulani microscopy so that you can detect, you can see how that seed looks like. But in the end, in that seed, it contains so much more that if we know the real meaning of planting and harvesting, then we will get to appreciate that the smallness of that seed as we see it at that point in time is not directly related to what you will see in the end when that seed will have done what it is supposed to do. What are the stages that you look through when you see a seed? When the seed is in your hands and you are going to plant that one seed, it is simply a seed, very tiny, very small, and as I've said, almost microscopic. But that small seed that you are carrying in your hands could be an orange. That orange that you are carrying in your hands could be a tree of oranges. That tree of oranges that you are carrying in your hands could end up being a juice factory of oranges. But then at the initial point, when you are planting it, you are just planting something very tiny like this that you could not see even with your natural eyes. But in the end, you actually held a factory that could even export oranges in many countries in Africa here, or to other countries beyond Africa and even to the West. But then what happens to the fruit when you put it in the soil? When you put a fruit in the soil, a seed in the soil, there are two things that happen. The seed is going down. And when the seed goes down, it is going towards gravity. And there's an English word they use, gravitopic, and another one phototropic when the seed comes up. But those are not the important words that I want us to pick. What I want us to pick is something that happens. And I want to encourage you today to understand that that is what all of us go through, or should go through, or will go through in the end, even as we are struggling to manifest the fruits that we want to manifest and to multiply. So a tree essentially grows in two directions at the same time. You may not know. A tree, when you plant that seed, when you see a tree with the branches like this, it is important to understand that down there, beneath there, kule chini ardhini, they are also just appearing in this way, if you could see them. But it is because they are hidden. They are buried down there. You can't see it the way you are seeing it up here. So when a tree is growing down, gravitopic, when it is growing down, it is struggling. When you plant the seed and it breaks and it now starts growing downwards, it's a real struggle. Because down there is a lot of resistance. Down there it is so uncomfortable. Down there it is so lonely. Down there it is so bad, the pressure. It is dirty. So the tree struggles, but none of you can see with your naked eyes what is happening when the tree is growing down before it starts coming up and bringing forth even one fruit. It's a real struggle. Imagine breaking through the rocks, the soil, and whatever it has to struggle to break through with down there. It's a mess. It's painful. It's lonely. It is wicked. It is just a situation, that an environment that nobody would like to be in. Lakini wakati sasa hiyo mbegu inachipuka, inakuja juu, we all want to admire and see it as we start seeing the tree breaking up, as we start seeing the branches, and ultimately when we will see the fruits and we will pick them and we will enjoy them and we will eat them. But nobody knows what the tree went through when the tree was struggling to break down there, to break the surface down there. The rocks, everything, the moth, whatever is down there. Uchafu wote ulio kule chini. Hakuna mtu anaona. Lakini sasa huo mtu utakapo kuja juu, kila mtu anatamani. Ukimwona ndugu yangu huyu mzee Kimari hapa, ukiona anaonekana safi hivi amefurahi. Ukijua yale ambayo amepitia, hata labda hii counter suit. Siku hizi watu wengi hawavai counter suit. That's why he's very unique. Give him a clap. I like unique people. Watu wanavaa suti na tai. Mwanaume bado anavaa counter suit hapa. Hata wainaina na yake hapa, lakini wacha nsie. Kwa hiyo ukimwona huyu mzee huyu, yale ambayo amepitia hata jana, leo na juzi, kuhakikisha hii suti yake imewekwa sawa. Hujui hata labda kama walizozana na mke wake kwamba hakunyoosha vizuri, alirejelea labda kunyoosha, labda hujui. Maybe he told her, you have not ironed properly, I want to be very smart in church. Hapa hivi bado ina mikundo. Sona ina mkundo sasa. Mke wake akarejea akaweka, akisema uweke pasi moto, alafu kama nile pasi unaweka maji ndani, akamwambia unyunyize maji kidogo, alafu weke moto mpaka mwisho, lakini usichome. Sasa yale yote aliyoyapitia ule mti ambaye ulikuwa unapambana kule chini, hujui. Ukimwona mtu labda anaonekana safi, hujui amepitia wapi, hujui hata amepitia machungu gani, hata kutafuta sabuni ya oge, hujui. Ukimwona mtu amenunua kitu chake, amejenga nyumba, akikwambia alikuwa anaenda benki kila siku kutafuta mkopo, anamlilia meneja. Mwingine akaenda hata ameomba, akafunga, akaona maombi haya na kifungo hiki ni kama mkopo usitaupata, akamtafuta muhindi fulani ambaye anamfahamu mtu yule, meneja wa benki, akaenda akaongea naye, si kwa njia ya kumhonga, Wakristo hawaongi, lakini kwa kusaidia tu. Akamsaidia, akamwambia lakini mkopo sikupi mkopo wote, nitakupa kiasi tu, tafuta pesa mahali pengine. Akaenda kwa ndugu mmoja, akamwambia jamani nisaidie hela, akamwambia umeomba kiasi hiki lakini nitakusaidia nusu. Hayo yote amepitia, akaenda chini, struggling to grow from down there. Wewe unapomuona hapa amejenga nyumba yake, ama amenunua gari lake, you are just seeing the phototropic part of that tree. You don't know what that tree went through in terms of the gravitropic part of growth. Kwa hiyo nyie mlie hapa, you may still be growing from down. You are still in the gravitropic point of growth. And because you are in the gravitropic point of growth, you think that things are so bad for you. They are not bad. They are not bad at all. As you struggle to break down there, one day utachipuka, you are going to come up here na utaonekana vizuri. So you will not always be struggling by growing down there. Watu hawakuoni. There are some people here you may not even recognize yourself. Labda anakaa tu kona fulani, labda hana gari, labda atanalipa labda kodi ndani ya nyumba. Unamwona labda unamwona kimadharau kidogo. Hana gari. You don't know what that person is going through. That person is just in the gravitropic point and he's still struggling to break up. But one day that person will break up. That person is not going to remain at that point forever. Yale matunda unayaona huku juu, usidhani alichipuka tu yakawa matunda. It was such a struggle to be down there in the earth. The grave is so lonely. So all of you, you will come up, you will be seen, your orange will be seen, your grapes will be seen in such a big way, because you are able to understand that as a tree, I grow in two directions. You don't grow in one direction. The only direction that people see is the outside direction. But the hidden one, what you struggle in the background, nobody sees it. Maybe if, of course, you are married and you can confidently share with your spouse, or you have a good friend you share with, that is it. But even though they don't know exactly what is happening in your system. Right now, if I have a problem with my head, if I have a headache, if I have a stomachache, I don't. If I have some problem in my chest, I can share with my wife. I can tell her, sweetie, lazis, maneno fulani ambayo natumia, ama mahabubu, hilo pia ni Kiswahili. Nina tatizo bwana. Mungu unaniuma. But exactly how I'm feeling here, you can never share. Hata wale wanaume wanawadanganya, ati my wife was physically pregnant, I don't know, with her spiritually pregnant. There's nothing like spiritual pregnancy. Umeshaona kwenye Biblia, pregnancy is just pregnancy. It's only the lady who knows when she's going through that gravitropic part of growth, analinda mtoto, she has to speed, anataka kula sijui chakula gani, hiki akitaki, hiki anakitaka, and so on and so forth. Lakini wakati hilo tunda, huyo mtoto anapotoka, sasa ndio tunaanza kumwona mtoto. Wengine wetu kama mimi, nataka kumbeba kila mtoto, nataka kumbusu. Ngaje watoto wa Kijapani usijaribu kuwabeba, unaweza simu inaweza kapigwa polisi. Yes, you can be called an hijacker bwana, usicheze kule. Anyway, niko Kenya, nitawabeba hawa Kenya wengi tu. So wakati unambeba huyo mtoto, unataka kumbusu, you look nice, unashika nywele zake nini, you should know the gravitropic nature of what that woman went through. Some had to go through cesarean. Some could have even died. People die in childbirth, even in modern day places where there are good hospitals, because they have to go through that gravitropic nature the moment the seed is planted in a womb. she starts going through that gravitropic, towards gravity. And here, when you see those children and you're hugging them, you're playing with them, they look nice, that is the phototropic. It's like a photo you can actually see. The phototropic part of that growth. Kitu kingine, the greatest matokeo of planting that people have never wanted or have never really pointed to is the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. That is matokeo. Wachana na mtu anakuambia tunafurahia matokeo ya uhuru. Wachana na mtu anakuambia nafurahia matokeo ya mtoto wangu ambaye amepita mtihani. Kama sasa sisi tunaopenda Kiswahili, Umoja wa Mataifa ulitupa siku ya Kiswahili tarehe 7 Julai, labda wengine mliona ilikuwa inasherekewa. Na rais wa Tanzania ama Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania alipotoa hotuba, hata Japani tulisherekea. Alipotoa hotuba yake, asante. Nashukuru, sinikwambia una suti nzuri, naona unanipenda sana, asante. I am better off preaching when I'm near my people. So if you don't mind, I can even move with my notes here so that I can be near you people, because it's easier for me. So rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania akaongea, akasema sasa tunaona matunda ya Kiswahili. Na hayo matunda aliyokuwa akizungumzia ni jinsi ambavyo nimewatajia. The fruit of our work in Swahili. But let me tell you about Jesus Christ. Wakati Yesu Kristo alizikwa, in a symbolic way, I tell you, it was like a seed that was going down. It was like a seed. Hear me now. You have been talking, we have been listening to fruitfulness and multiplication. It was a seed going into the ground. Kule chini ule uchungu ambao alipitia. That loneliness in that grave. That pain that he went through. Wale waliomsulubisha, wakamuua, akazikwa. It looked like he was finished. It was a gravitropic nature of Jesus going down into the soil, into the earth, into the grave. Like you bury a seed, and then later on you see the fruit. Wakati Yesu alizikwa, alikuwa ni kama mbegu ambayo ilipandwa ardhini. Na hiyo mbegu haikuchukua muda wa miaka kama vile tunavyoona mbegu fulani nitaonesha ambazo lazima zichukue miaka fulani ndio zichipuke. Hiyo mbegu ilipandwa ardhini kwa njia ya chuki, kwa njia ya kumaliza Kristo wetu, kwa njia ya kumwangamiza. Lakini alipokuwa anaenda chini, anapambana pale ndani ya kaburi, hakuna aliyejua atajitokeza nje na tutayaona matokeo. Hakuna aliyejua. Wale waliomuua wakati huo walidhani wamemwangamiza. Lakini nyinyi nyote ambao mko hapa, ambao mmeokoka na mnafurahia hiyo injili, ni kwa sababu alienda chini akachipuka, tukayaona matokeo. Na yale matokeo ni makuu sana, ni mengi sana, ni mazito sana, ndio yanahubiriwa katika watu bilioni 7, bilioni 8 nafikiria sasa. I think 8 point something million human beings. All of them, kila mmoja wao, kama hata lionja hilo tunda la wokovu, hayo matokeo ambayo yalitokana na kufa kwa Mwokozi, alipokuwa chini ardhi, wakafukia na jabali na jiwe kubwa. Lakini we now ended up seeing the phototropic, which we are seeing now. I could not be preaching to you now if Jesus would not have gone down and faced the shame of the grave, and faced the hell of the grave, the pressure of the grave. There's no food in the grave. Some of us like food so much. There is no car in the grave to drive. Yes, we thank God for blessing us with these things, but don't hold on so much to any of these things. Don't. There is no hairstyle in the grave. When you go to the salon, is it saloon? No, salon. I confuse the car sometimes with the place where women or men go to shave. When you go there and you are struggling, you want this style, not good. You want that style. Sometimes even your husband wants to quarrel with you. He didn't like this style and it is your head, but he's your husband anyway. He can comment. He wanted the other style. There is no hairstyle in the grave. There is no suit in the grave for us diplomats. Where you even go to school to be taught how to dress. It's a waste of time as far as salvation is concerned. There is no suit that is going to be there in the grave. There is no shoes. You're not going to be changing your shoes or your spectacles. If you put on spectacles like me, and maybe it can get broken, so I have another pair. I will not have that chance. In fact, I will not be buried in my spectacles. I saw recently, there was a clip on social media. So I don't know if some of you saw it. A man, I think from somewhere in West Africa, he wrote a will, and he said he wants to be buried with I'm happy I can still see the clock from here. So I know my timing. He said he wants to be buried with his wealth. Do you know, seriously, that man was buried with watches. He was buried with money, dollars. We are looking for dollars. Surely. A lot of dollars. This is $100 is like, is it about 13,000 shillings or something? $100, roughly. Imagine a real wad of notes of dollars that he was buried with. Buried with dollars, buried with watches, buried with diamonds, buried with gold. You see how vain human beings can be, surely. Well, it didn't help him. Those things, you don't need them in the grave. So mark that. Our Jesus Christ went down as a seed and came up as matokeo ya kufa na kufufuka kwa Yesu Kristo. Ndio uokovu tunaofurahia sasa hivi. Now, did you know something? When you are talking of fruits, now we can read, I needed a scripture, Galatians 5:20. Give me Galatians 5:22 and 23. Galatians 5:22 and 23. All the water ni yangu sijali. Sinaliwaambia kunywa maji mengi. Not that I took a soda and I'm trying to neutralize with 17 glasses, no. I'm not neutralizing with 17 glasses. I'll take it. Okay. Galatians. Yes. Galatians 5. This is the first verse we are reading. Galatians 5:22. It talks of the fruit of the Spirit. And in that fruit of the Spirit, in fact, preachers have preached and have analyzed that it is not fruits with a capital S. It's one fruit with many segments. One fruit, ndio Biblia inasema tunda, hata Kiswahili wanasema tunda la roho. One fruit with many segments. The segment of love, the segment of joy, the segment of peace, and so on and so forth. In that Galatians, and I know most of us have heard of this a lot. The fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22 and 23. Maybe we can read it together. Galatians 5:22 and 23. And the fruit of the Spirit is, hebu tusome pamoja. Thank you. Hold on that. Let's read another scripture in Matthew 7:15. I want to compare something. I want you to compare something, please. Matthew 7:15. Matthew 7:15. Today I'll be on time. You know, if you live with the Japanese, you can't afford to joke with time. They are very, very serious when it comes to time. You get late 1 minute, even sometimes if you get early 2 minutes, they don't like. So we can read Matthew 7. I want us to read Matthew 7 from 15 to 21. Matthew 7:15. We'll read up to 21, then I'll explain. Before we continue, you will know them by their tuendelee. We are reading. Let's continue. You have jumped, please. 2016, it's important. We'll pick something from there. 2016, tafadhali, please. 16, yes, let's continue. Tuendelee up to 21. 18. 19. Yes, the last one. Let's go to 21. Can you give me 22? There's something in 22 maybe that I didn't pick up here. Give me 20, actually up to 23 I've realized. 22 and 23, yes. Let's continue. The last one, 23. Now let's listen. There's something very important here. Jesus is saying that we will be known by our fruits. That's what Jesus is saying. And immediately after that, he says that many will come in his name. And if you realize, many at times in the church, not the church as CRT, the church as the church of Jesus Christ, there is a lot of focus on the gifts. That brother has got a gift of healing. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, if you are sick, that brother can preach. If that brother takes the microphone, you will be really touched. He's such a preacher. Gifts. That brother can really speak in tongues for 7 hours continuously. Gift. That brother even giving. That brother, he can give you his last. Well, that sister. Am I just saying brother, what's wrong with me? That sister can give you her last coin. And it is good. Gift. That sister can really sing. I know liwe Yesu, I know liwe Yesu, I know liwe Yesu, I know liwe. She is actually singing about Yesu. But what is he saying? Have you ever asked yourself, why didn't Jesus say, many will come in my name and say, wasn't I that loving before your people? Because you cannot imitate love. You cannot pretend to be a loving person. Have you ever asked yourself, why didn't Jesus say that many will come to me and say that, oh Lord, don't you remember how patient I was with my husband or wife? I was a very patient partner in that marriage. I was abused both physically and emotionally and verbally. But I was very patient in that marriage. Why didn't Jesus give that example? And he has compared the two. He starts with the fruit, he goes to the gift. Because we are crazy about gifts. There's nothing wrong with gifts, but people rush so much where the gifts are. But these fruits that you people want, you don't want to go through the pain to produce a gift. Because to produce a fruit, you have to go down gravitropically and suffer. Who can't sing? Do I need to suffer to sing? Jesus is a mighty God. He is a mighty God. Everybody, hata naleta accent ya America kidogo na hata sina. Everybody bow before him. He is a mighty God. Even the devil, Hare Krishna. Even some of you don't even know what Hare. Even just mentioning some of these funny things in a Christian song I don't like. Ati shetani nitakusema kwa baba, nitakusema. Shangwe haleluya, shangwe haleluya. Shetani utamsema na umepewa nguvu za kumkanyaga shetani wewe. Unaenda kumsema kwa baba nini? And people are singing and enjoying. These things are so sweet. The gifts are so sweet. Shetani nitakusema kwa baba, they are so sweet. Ask somebody to be patient. I'm telling you, Bishop, go and borrow money from some of these people here. Go to them and borrow 10,000 shillings and promise them, let me finish. And I'm using our bishop in church. Bishop, go to somebody who can afford to give you 10,000 shillings in the church and give them a promise, your word. Tell them that I will pay you the money next week on Wednesday. What's the date next week on Wednesday? 31st. I'll pay you the money next week on Wednesday, 31st. I can guarantee you, Bishop, even that person, because he never sends you any messages, Wednesday 31st in the morning, since he's a Christian or she's a Christian, they will not directly tell you to give them back their money, but they will greet you that Wednesday morning with a message. I can guarantee you. And it will have some Christian, some verses from the word of God. How are you, Bishop, today? I just pray that the Lord is going to favor you today. It's not the Lord, he wants his money. That person has no gift of patience. He wants his money. And you even quote you scriptures. I know you are going to speak, I don't know where. These gifts, these fruits that you want, they are rare. You have to go through pain. You have to go through suffering. Joy. Peace. Can you imitate peace really? Can somebody try and imitate that I'm a peaceable person? Can I try to imitate that I'm a peaceable? Long suffering, patience, and all those that you read. So, let's clap for our bishop as he goes for his service. So these fruits that we are looking for, it takes a lot to produce a fruit. But be encouraged. With the love of God, with the participation of Jesus Christ, with going forth and surrendering before our Jesus, your fruit is going to be manifest. Very clearly manifest. You just have to surrender yourself. Give yourself up to Christ. Your fruit is going to be manifest. Don't worry about the gifts. God has given you the gifts. It's okay. Use them. Make sure that they're tested, so that they are not being done or projected to impress people. Even this preaching, I can be preaching, but I just want after the preaching maybe to hear, I'm telling you, Pastor Arthur, he gave us a very good sermon, so that I feel a little bit something nice in my ego. And God knows that. But it is very hard for me to be patient with somebody who is disturbing me, who is abusing me, who is speaking very bad things about me. And for me to continue talking to those people in love, for me to continue being nice, I cannot pretend. It just has to be in me. The fruit just has to be in me. I cannot feign those segments, those 9 segments. Neither love, nor joy, nor patience, nor long suffering, nor self-control. You just need some little bit of some Kiswahili wanasema uchokozi. Umchokoze tu mtu kidogo, you realize that person has no self-control. Umchokoze tu kidogo, wakati mwingine yale maneno yanaweza toka kwenye midomo ya huyo mtu, you will be shocked. Na ni Mkristo anaweza toa maneno mpaka hata matusi, maneno mazito hata matusi, mpaka unajiuliza Ukristo wetu uko wapi? Self-control. These are areas, these are elements. You can never pretend to be somebody who has the fruit of self-control. It will just be in you, and it will be seen very clearly. Finally, I think 11:30 is usually the live. Mtanisame, mtanipa labda dakika 5 nimalizie. Finally, we all are different in terms of which is the fruit. I want to have some preachers here to assist me. You know, in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, we had the sons of Israel. Reuben, Simeon, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zabulon, Joseph, Benjamin. I was just asking myself when I was preparing for this sermon, there were 12. And I was asking myself, how come in the New Testament Jesus picked 12 disciples? I don't know whether there's a correlation. I don't want to pretend that I was given that revelation directly. But I just realized there could be something that we have never really picked in the spirit about this number 12. So for the three of you who are here, I'll start with the three of you. I only want men. Because even I'll use the sons, not for the three of you, the pastors, join them, smam up. And then the two there, I'll need up to 12. So you better start volunteering if you can. I don't have a lot of time. If you are a man, come. Come. If you are a man, come and stand here. There's something small I want to show you, and then we'll be closing in a moment. Here, stand together. I want to give them, I don't want to go to the disciples, because if I give anybody Judas, that person will not be my friend. It is going to be very dangerous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 people, 3 men. Just quickly. It's a simple thing. And you don't have to. We need one more man. Mwanaume moja. Asante sana ndugu yangu. Nashukuru. Simama tu hapo. So here you have probably the 12 sons of Israel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wonderful. We have here in front of you, you have the 12 sons of Israel. So randomly, let me just give them the names. It's not your name. You don't have to worry even if you didn't like it. Let's assume my brother here is the firstborn, Reuben. Then the next one is Simeon. Then we have Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zabulon, Joseph, and Benjamin. He actually looks like Benjamin. He's nice. Yeah. You are nice and young. I love it. So it's a nice coincidence that you came here. Benjamin, yes. Unaonekana kama Benjamin kabisa. So these 12 sons of Israel, I have 12 fruits. And I want to allocate to them. If I had a lot of time, I would have asked them to choose the fruit that they like, because they like different fruits. But because I don't have a lot of time and I need to be stepping down in a couple of minutes, I will allocate you a fruit, okay? So my friend here is a pineapple. This friend of mine here. Then the next one is an orange. Then I have an apple following him. I have a pawpaw. In some countries they say papaya. I have a mango. I have a strawberry. And I have, in the next notes here, I have a grape, I have passion, I have avocado, I have banana, I have apricot, and a guava. Okay? So here we have a pineapple. And he looks nice and light. I like him. Yeah, I don't want to say he looks like a pineapple. No, he doesn't. But he's a lovely guy. I like the way he does his keyboard. So, huyu ndugu yetu huyu that nimemwita nanasi pineapple, it will take this pineapple here. Of course, I'm just doing it for demonstrating something. You are neither a fruit or anything. Take it easy. It will take up to 2 to 3 years for this pineapple to mature, for you to be able to eat your pineapple. So don't rush to eat him so quickly. It takes him up to 2 to 3 years for him to mature to be a full pineapple, okay? Now, when we come here, these are the lovely young man who got married recently, and I can see tunaona matunda ya ndoa yake. He looks very nice. This one is an orange. For this orange here to mature, it will take actually between 1 to 4 years, depending on, certain moisture and so on and so on and so forth, for it to mature. 1 to 4 years. Now, then you have an apple. Bilu, unaonekana kama apple kweli? So this apple here will take you up to 3 to 6 years for the apple to mature, for you to be able to eat your apple. And let me move quickly. A pawpaw here, it will take 1 year. Hey, na wewe ni haraka sana bwana, mwaka mmoja watu washaanza kula bwana. This is a papaya or a pawpaw. Then you go to my dear brother here, Wainaina, wewe unaonekana kama embe kweli, lakini unaonekana kama embe sana. So this is a mango here. And then you have my brother here with a strawberry. And then now we move on quickly. We have a passion fruit here. And then we have an avocado here. Then we have 3 more remaining, or 4. Okay, then we have a banana, an apricot, and a guava. I think the message is coming out very clearly. So I have told you, for my friend here, who is, for the pineapple, it will take you 2 to 3 years to harvest and eat. For the orange, 1 to 4 years. For the apple, 3 to 6 years. For the pawpaw, it's just 1 year. For the mango, who is a mango? I hope you are picking up who you are. Oh, you take so long, my brother. You will need 5 to 8 years to be able to harvest and eat by mchungaji wa Inaina. Strawberry, it will take you 16 weeks. This is one of the quickest the fruit that you will harvest quickly and eat. And then for the grapes, you need 3 years. Passion, 12 to 18 months. Avocado, 4 to 5 years. Banana and ndizi, 9 to 12 months. Who is a banana? He was like, Yes, the banana, very quickly, between 9 and 12 months, utakuwa tayari. And then you have the apricot, which is 3 to 4 years, and you still have to wait for 2 years to eat it. And a guava, which takes 3 to 5 months. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is not that I'm just wasting the time of these brethren. When you look at him, he's a son of Israel, like Benjamin, huyu hapa. But when you look at him, there is a stark difference in the way he looks like to any of them. Just look at his height. Look at his complexion. Even if you compare them, the two, they look close. They're both a bit slim and all that. Don't even look at the dressing. They dress differently. Just look at their body makeup. Look at their fingers. Stretch your fingers. You can see. Yeah, you can see. Huyu ameacha kucha kidogo nje, huyu amekata kabisa. Look at them. Huyu ana malaika mengi zaidi. Malaika is the hair that you see on the body. Now huyu hana sana. They are both sons of Israel. Those are the two. Let's go to these two. I don't even need to tell you the difference. What is the main difference here? Forget about that. Let's move on. Look at these two. They're both sons of Israel. All this. But what is the main difference between these two? Somebody shout. Yeah? I'm looking for this. But this pastor here may never get kipara. I don't think at the age that he is in, if he was to get kipara, it would already be showing somewhere. But this one here, if Sister Lydia, I can see you have taken good care of his hair. She has done a good job. Take good care. So you have seen that difference yourself. Now look at these two again. Don't go to kipara now because both of them have a bit of it. Now, when you look at these two brothers, the sons of Israel, what difference can you make from their body? Just tell me something. Yeah? One is, this is a little taller, isn't it? Just one. We can go to so many, we had a lot of time. Look at these two. This is the interpreter. Na huyu ndugu yangu hapa hata sitaki kusema lolote, mwenyewe mshaona. Huyu akikutwanga ngumi moja, wewe uhakikisha kuna gari la kukupeleka hospitali. Huyu hapa huyu. Mwenyewe, these are both sons of, and then the last two. You can see how handsome, I can say that, don't worry about that. How handsome Benjamin is. Benjamin ndio yule ambaye hawakumpenda. Ama alikuwa Joseph. Na huyu huyu wa mwisho Benjamin huyu, mnamuona huyu hapa na huyu. You can see the difference. This gentleman is much lighter. This gentleman, well, nafikiri wewe utapata kipara usijali. Kama ulikuwa nafikiri utakataliwa kwa sababu ya kipara sidhani, wewe utakuwa sawa. So this gentleman, you can see is a little shorter, this one is a little taller, this is much lighter, and this one is a little dark. Thank you, gentlemen. Take your seat. So let's get this explanation here. So you have seen that. One simple thing. Every one of us has to know that you are wired differently to do different things. Where I live now in Japan and in most Western countries, there is something that I realized which surprised me. And I even thought that it was a little bit unfair or a waste of time. Those countries, Japan, China, and many of the Western countries, the way they train their children is very different from the way we train our children here. It's not going to school, mathematics, whatever, just that. What they do, when the children are still very small, 2, 3, 4 years, they take them literally through everything. They'll take them to a place where they can try and stitch clothes. They'll take them to a place where they can try and do some barber shop. You know, they'll give them military uniform and take them to a place where they can train as soldiers, where they can jump, you know, those hurdles and train as soldiers. They will take them through anything. They'll take them to a field where they can play some soccer. They'll take them a place where they can talk, you know, communication and being able to talk to people. They train their children 3, 4 years. They try all those things. And I got to realize the reason why they do that is because they want to pick a talent, what that child can do when the child grows up. They want to pick it that early. They don't want somebody to grow up and say, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be this, and yet that is not what was ingrained in you. So what God has put in you may be something very, very different. You know, whether you are doing something, you are selling clothes, or you are somewhere, you are selling fruits, or you are somewhere, you are repairing cars, that is where the Lord wants your fruit to be seen. Like these children of Israel, you saw all of them, they were different, they were not the same. Kwa sababu Mungu ameweka kitu tofauti moja kwa mwingine. Kwa hiyo huyu kama anafanya kazi ya kuuza nguo, huyu kama anafanya kazi ya kuendesha gari, huyu kama anafanya kazi ya serikali kama mimi, mwingine anafanya kazi nyingine tofauti, usijidharau na usimdharau. Kwa sababu utofauti uliouona hapa ndio sisi sote tulivyo tofauti. And don't you ever think yourself, deceive yourself ukifikiria ati mtu kuwa rais ati ana raha zaidi kuliko wewe. If you knew what the president was going through right now, maybe you won't envy him. So wherever you are, God is going to judge you, and I think it's very close to what a reverend was preaching last Sunday. It's just a direct connection. Your judgment will be according to kile ambacho Mungu amekupa ufanye. Like in Japan, you know, they train their children very, very early. They really impressed me. A 5-year-old child, I noticed, can leave the house here, if they are living here, and actually go to school in Ongatorongai on his or her own. You just see them walking slowly with a cap. They go to the train, they go to the bus. They carry 5-6 years. Wanafika, wanaenda shule, wanamaliza, they go back home. I don't know how they do it. I think they start when they're like months. The level of responsibility that those children have, to me, it is just outstanding. It's beautiful. Finally, these things, you don't try and do them in your own strength. In fact, there is something that happened when I was in Japan that made me realize that I had some other talent, but let me not go into that right now. Maybe I'll mention it some other day. So these things that we are talking about here, as I said, you don't do them in your own strength. It is the Lord who will enable you to be able to produce such fruit. And when you produce such fruit, it will be seen and it will be clear, na matunda haya yatadumu. Kile kinachodumu ni kile kilichotoka kwa Mungu. There was a pastor who lived, it's unbelievable to me, about 1963, 61 years ago in my village. So that pastor, I was not even born, I was born 3 years after, 66, was really, really credited in his character, probably I would say his fruit. And when I was growing up, I used to notice that so many people were named after that man. So many names, including my late brother, who died in 2019. He was given a name after that man, Saul. He was called Saul. And every home, they have that name. I used to wonder, how come this man, so many people decided to name him? So I started talking to some old people who knew him well. Asking, who was this Saul? So the first person I asked puzzled me. Just said, oh, that man Saulo was a very lovely man. A very lovely man. And so I went and asked my late dad, who was this man Saul? He said, then he just used one word, very honest man. So I went to somebody else, and this man told me Saulo was a real man of God. He was a pious man. As far as I am concerned, that man never even hurt a fly. It's an English word. It doesn't mean that he didn't hit a fly like this. Then another uncle of mine said that if day of judgment reaches right now, and I see Saulo being judged to go into hell, then I myself will just march straight into that hell. So happily I met his widow. She was around 88 years old in 1996, I think, 96, 97. And I talked to her a little bit about that man. And then finally, she told me how he went home. As I told you, heaven is our home, not Kirinyaga or Bondo or whatever. So she told me he had finished a sermon. He had gone to church around Christmas Day or Boxing Day. So when he came home, after that, he sat. And some people came from church. Unajua kule kwetu Kakamega, watu wanapenda hizi zawadi. I think walikuwa wamemletea kuku ambayo wamemchoma vizuri. As a gift, he was their pastor. So when he came home, akakaa, alikuwa anajitayarisha kula. So the wife, at that time I was speaking to her, she was a widow, she saw him shaking a little bit. So she wondered, what's happening, Saul? In fact, she told me, she asked him, are you dying or what? What a question. Can you imagine your wife asking you that? And he was healthy, not at hospital. Then she said, immediately, he was seated like this, And then as he started shaking like this, immediately he kind of wanted to stand up and he couldn't stand up completely. Then he knelt down like this. And then he raised his hand like this. And he just did like this, and then he went. So even if you doubt that somebody could have gone to heaven, I'm sure you may want to see such a person in heaven. They didn't carry him to any hospital. He just knelt down and raised his hand up. And then she started crying, and then they laid him down. So she cried for people, and then those who were there also, and said, Saul Amanda. So I'm comparing that with this. This is the last example I'm giving you. This is somebody, in my view, whose fruit, they were telling, this is 61 years since he went. So there was another man, he wasn't saved really. A man I liked, he was a driver in our ministry in the 90s also. He shared the name with this preacher, this pastor here, but it's not him. Alikuwa anaitwa Ndirangu. Those days, we had a lot of HIV and AIDS that was killing people. It can still kill, but because of these medicines that are helping us to live longer, you can go on and on, so it's not a big issue. So that man, Ndirangu, as everybody else did, feared AIDS so much. And so he told me, and I'll try to put up that accent, because he was speaking to me in Swahili. That time we were talking, we had lost a colleague in the Ministry of Home Affairs before I joined Foreign Affairs. He had died of AIDS. So Ndirangu akaanza kuniambia, alikuwa ananiendesha gari, was a driver. He was a lovely man, I loved that old man. Hata siku moja alienda Nyeri akaniletea mkungu wa ndizi after he had retired. And I found that to be a better gift than people giving me money or suits. It was original from his shamba. Akaniambia, unaona Adabi, mimi hii ugonjwa ya ukimwi, sitaki iniue ama iue bibi yangu. Sasa nilifanya hivi. Nilienda hospitali 3. Kwa sababu nilikuwa nimekosea kidogo hapa Mugu. Nikaenda hospitali ya Nyeri Provincial Hospital. Wakanipima. Wakaona mimi sina hiyo ugonjwa. Nikatoka huko, nikaenda Kenyatta National Hospital. Wakanipima. Wakaona mimi sina hiyo ugonjwa. Nikatoka hapo, nikaenda Mater Misericordia, whatever the German pronunciation is, huko South B Hospital. Wakanipima vizuri, wakaona mimi sina hiyo ugonjwa. Sasa Adabi, hii hospitali 3 inaweza daganya mimi kweli? Meaning, if you want an interpretation in English, he went to test in 3 hospitals and he was wondering, can these 3 hospitals cheat me that I don't have AIDS? So I was happy for him. Then he went ahead and said, nikaambia bibi yangu, kuja tuongee bibi yangu. Mimi nimepima na nimeona sina ukimwi kabisa. Sasa wewe kama ulikuwa unaiba mahari, uache kabisa hiyo wizi. Mimi nimewasha kabisa. Sitaiba tena. Nitamwamini Mungu tu anisaidie. Mimi sitaiba tena. Labda kitu kingine iwe mimi. Hiyo mtu na kufa hapana. Labda kitu kingine iwe mimi. So this is a man who was doing it in his own strength. He didn't have any fruit like Saul. He was doing it in his own strength. So after about 3-4 months, we lost another colleague in office who died from AIDS. So we went and buried that colleague. So again we were driving. And I reminded Ndirangu. Kamwambia Ndirangu, sasa unaona mwenzetu ameenda, lakini wewe mimi namshukuru Mungu sana. Wewe uliachana nayo mambo ukampima mke wako. Actually, I don't think he took his wife for a test. It was him. My cousin was saying he must have been the thief. Why didn't he take his wife for testing? So finally, nikamwambia Ndirangu, I was happy for him. Nikamwambia sasa sio umepima, umejua tulipoteza fulani, I remembered that man. Na sasa huyu amefariki, sasa wewe ukimwi hauwezi kupata. Do you know what he told me? Adabi nilitereza tena. Let's stand up and give our offering.